Good afternoon. I'm GeoEnvironmental Atmospheric Forecaster Andrew Fleck, and as Hurricane Sandy edges near the New Jersey coastline to make landfall later Monday into early Tuesday, those winds are starting to become felt from coastal and inland locations. Along with that, there's been some heavy rain and already causing some flooding. We're going to talk about mainly the winds. I think that's going to be something that we've experienced the rain already, but winds, a new variable that is definitely going to become felt, especially again first from those coastal locations and then inland. So we're going to take this video, go through some of those times throughout the afternoon and evening, and break down where the worst winds will be in the coordinates to the center of Hurricane Sandy. So currently, I'm going to illustrate these colors very quickly for you. Where we have that purple, where we have that white, you might even see green in this video, that's where we have some of the highest winds. Now where we have the lightest blue, almost downright black color, that would indicate the least winds at this time, where they'd be around 15 to 20, but above into that purple, into that white, that's where winds are over 50, perhaps even up to 80. And we're going to use our pointer tool, and we're going to pick out a couple select locations where these winds are howling at this time and where they're going to forecast to be howling the strongest, again across the New Jersey coastline, Long Island, and we'll even plot a few points more inland. But currently at this time, we have Hurricane Sandy between the strongest winds and the weakest winds here. The weakest winds obviously being here in that blue that we just described, and the strongest wrapped around here in the white. And between that is where Hurricane Sandy lies. And throughout later Monday into early Tuesday, this is going to continue its track northwest, make landfall between either Cape May or Point Pleasant, somewhere in there, and then of course move further inland Tuesday and take a track similar like this. But there's two sides to the storm. We have some of the rain that has been very known since much of the day Sunday and continues to make itself known throughout Monday. Much in this corridor right about here. There's been some perhaps a foot of rain, some locations at 3 inches and exceeding that, but more toward the Lehigh Valley area, northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, all through that corridor there, you haven't had the rain. And there's two sides to this storm. There's the winds, which will accompany the northern end and the northeastern end of this, and you'll have that rain, which accompanies more of the western and southwestern edge. So as we've spoken here, if forecasts are right and Hurricane Sandy takes a track into this location, then into Pennsylvania and further north throughout Tuesday and Wednesday, that would mean that again to the northern ends of this forecast track, you would have the ones who are not receiving the heaviest rain to see some of the worst winds, and then of course on the other end here, that's where you have some of the worst rain. So two variables coming together to form quite a heck of a storm, and that will continue obviously in through the rest of Monday and into Tuesday. So now what I'm going to do very quickly is go through a couple time frames here. I'm going to use my pointer tool and go over some locations of what you're forecasted to see wind-wise into the afternoon and evening overnight hours as Sandy nears the coastline. So currently I believe we have our image for 2 p.m. coming up here, and I'm going to point first our tool of the Lehigh Valley. That's one location that has begun to get into some of those winds increasing, and at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m., 1 to 2 p.m., and it expects these gusts to get up to about 42 knots. It's about 42 to 45 miles per hour. There has been a couple of reports around stations that those gusts indeed have gotten up to 35 so far. So this is pretty accurate. It's pretty on. So we're going to follow this and use this as guidance, and we're going to go over a couple other locations here. We have Long Island. We click that. You guys are forecast for this 1 to 2 o'clock time frame 51 knots. That would be 51 to close to 54 miles per hour. Interesting report there already. There's been of 52 mile per hour gusts. So again, that's right on key with what we're using as guidance here. Another one we'll plot, obviously, we expect Sandy to move onshore into the New Jersey coastline, so we're going to plot around Point Pleasant here what your winds are forecasted this 1 to 2 o'clock p.m. time frame, about 50 miles per hour or just a little bit above there. So as the storm nears the coast, the winds are going to pick up. Next, we're going to show you another image. I believe this is now for around 6 to 7 o'clock this evening. Again, looking at where the least winds are, that would be Sandy Center. It's positioned about right here. It's closing and nearing the coast. And now all that white you begin to see here is filling in for Cape Cod, Long Island, even up to the New Jersey coast here, definitely to the southern end of it, but that's not over any land. And now, instead of eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, some of the coastal locations in those high winds now exceeding now further back west into central Pennsylvania. In fact, even some colleges now finally canceled evening classes. It was a very good call. Penn State, I believe, Cal University of Pennsylvania. Some of those universities and others are making those calls for the safety of their students and faculty, and we definitely believe that was a very good move here. But at this time frame of 6 to 7 this evening, you can still see that Sandy is well offshore, and the winds are coming onshore. And we're going to use that pointer tool, and we're going to now see what the forecast is for these winds at this time. This time we're going to start out around State College and show you the winds for this specific frame. And again, this is 6 p.m. to 7. Looking at 49 knots. It's about 50 to 53 miles per hour. Again, that's for the 6 to 7 o'clock time frame. As we move further eastward, we're going to pan over here in the white here on the Jersey Shore. And that shows up 65 knots. It's almost 70 mile per hour gusting for now the Jersey Shore at this time frame. Another one we're going to point out here is Long Island. You're also in the white, and that shows 66 knots, so almost again 70 yourself. And another one we'll show here is Lehigh Valley, since we use that in the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock update, and that is 51 knots, exceeding almost 55 miles per hour. And again, this is that time frame for 6 to 7 o'clock. So here are your winds. Obviously, we showed you the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Those winds are slowly starting to nudge further coast to inland, and by 6 to 7, they only increase. And I'm going to show you one more frame here. I'm going to try to maybe get that frame showing around for the 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock tonight time frame. So let's go into that really fast here and show you. And here it is, and you'll see obviously some of the stronger winds still keeping in fact moving more westward. Once in eastern Pennsylvania, the coastal states, from 1 to 2 p.m. from this evening, they move through the central states to now the western ends. And as Hurricane Sandy nudges near the coast and makes landfall, the whole region entirely is going to experience sustained winds, very strong at times, and even gusts. And we really need you to be known to that. Small businesses, keep alert, keep watching the weather, keep on to GeoEnvironmental Atmosphere's website and our Facebook page. Again, that URL to our website is geoea.org, and we will be able to keep and continue updating you throughout that time frame. Also, you see here that the storm of Sandy is beginning to ever so closely move almost onshore to New Jersey here, and that's in that most lightest blue color there, but not quite yet. And while it's doing this, you can also begin to observe yourself that winds that were once more condensed around from Delaware, New Jersey, throughout Long Island now begin to expand. And so you're not seeing as much white, but those winds are expanding from the center. So now you have locations like Cape Cod, eastern Massachusetts, all the way up to even Maine now experiencing, and we're going to use our pointer tool here, experiencing, I would say, about probably 65 knots. It's almost 70 miles per hour. So 70 mile per hour winds surely are on the Jersey shoreline along Long Island. But hey, you know what? Those folks living in eastern Massachusetts all the way up to Maine, you're going to be feeling that too. This is a large system. It's going to continue to move its way and track into New Jersey overnight and early Tuesday, and those effects will be felt from the coastal locations all the way to the inland locations. Power outages are expected. Flooding rains, where those rains are heaviest, will occur, and GeoEnvironmental Atmosphere will be on task and at hand throughout this event tonight, tomorrow, and until this storm begins to dissipate and move out of the region. So for GeoEnvironmental Atmosphere, I'm Andrew Fleck. Continue to follow us again at the website URL of geoea.org. Have a good one and stay safe out there.